The light was intense, red, evil, with burning fires and black smoke. Grunts and groans soared in the air from non-human entities while they banged their wooden clubs on boulders in a sacred sequence of events, worshipping a creature. Clouds rumbled in the blood-red sky with fury, lit up by blue flashes, rolling as if forced to follow the winds like slaves. This world had been created from the actions of humankind: destruction, war, grief, pestilence, plagues, and the annihilation of God's law. Millions of giant spiritual locusts and flies brought total darkness in the blink of an eye. Then they burned when massive fires pierced upwards from beneath the earth. A massive hand glided over this world to another location, where, in the mountains of dust, a hooded claw scraped on a stone tablet, writing distorted perversions from the Bible. Nearby, packs of feral dogs, wolves, and black jackals tore and fought with one another. Their growls changed into a chorus of pitiful sounds, and fur and blood dripped from their jaws. Suddenly, a giant hole opened beside them, and screaming demons entered into the animals. They became possessed and set about attacking each other with ravenous intent. When the animals died, the earth shook and rumbled, as if a mighty quake took to shaking the ground in anger. More sandstorms followed, swirling around this landscape, hot, suffocating, thick. A priest peered from behind a mound of darkened earth, watching, assimilating, wishing he wasn't here. He witnessed the races of many peoples crowded on a narrow, winding road. In the lights of their eyes, he could see an aching pain. This sorry state of humanity began screaming and crying, desperate to know what terrible place they'd been transferred to, because for them, in only a moment, they'd been alive in God's world. In the chaos, some men taunted one another, and clergymen from different religious orders looked on, walking side by side like uneasy companions. Aside from the road was a graveyard called Paperback. A holy chapel near the cemetery suddenly rang its bell. The priest withdrew from the mound of earth and paced into the chapel. He had graying hair, skin aging and drawn, scarred with the countless traumas of a hard, bitter life, and his dress code was a long black and white gown, clinging to his body like a lover. His eyes flicked to different angles in the chapel, and he clutched a silver crucifix hanging around his neck tightly. A large marble cross with the carving of Jesus Christ, erected as a statement to the establishment of his church, was surrounded by hundreds of candles, lit up as if saluting a holy decree. The priest spoke. "God forgive me. God exonerate me, for I am not worthy." He wandered to the altar where the cross of the crucified Christ stood, pounded into the stone floor with tremendous force. The priest knelt, head lowered, and he meditated in deep prayer. The face of Christ bowed from on top of the crucifix for a moment. This continued for some time. Then, a quiet child's voice tickled the inside of Mason's ear. A young adolescent boy with short brown hair, face chiseled to angelic proportions, lips perfect, button nose, stepped into the chapel exhausted. A hot mist followed him from the burning fires raging with horror from outside. Suddenly, the large brown doors slammed shut, causing a bellowing echo to turn into a scream,